What's up, everybody? Welcome once again to Blockbuster Mentality. I'm your host, Ben. Really appreciate you joining us. Before we get started, we just ask that you subscribe to us on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. We'd appreciate it. Appreciate a review. That really helps us out a lot. We've been climbing those charts, so we'd really appreciate it. If you haven't already, drop a review for us and a rating, iTunes or Spotify or wherever you do that. We'd appreciate it. How's everyone doing? Yeah, it's been a while. Been a couple weeks anyway, but glad to be back. Today we got a great show with Brian Quinn, or Q, you might know him as, from Impractical Jokers. He graced us with his presence, and we talked Superman, and that was a lot of fun. He's a huge Superman guy. Talked about Superman, his career, Impractical Jokers, and his firefighting days even. So yeah, I think you guys will enjoy this conversation. Had a lot of fun, me and Dave did, with Q. So yeah, here it is. Here's our conversation with Q from Impractical Jokers. Hey,
hey,
Q, how are you?
Hey guys.
Oh, I like that he dressed for the occasion. He has the Superman shirt on.
I'm gonna tell you something right now, and I swear upon my mother's grave it's true. I didn't wear this for the podcast. Didn't even realize I was wearing it until you just pointed it out.
That is perfect, though. I mean, that's
absolutely bonkers.
That's gonna awesome. Go right into it. So that's great.
Yeah. All right. I mean, to be fair, I have like 3 of these exact shirts, so I'm usually wearing.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, do you wear this just my daily wear?
Yeah. I'm a Superman nut, man. That's why I jumped on it. Like, I got a tattoo. I got everything, man. I'm Superman's my guy.
Where's your tattoo?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got it.
Oh, there nice. It is.
Yeah,
beauty.
The Kingdom Come Superman.
That's right.
Symbol.
I have to say, I'm liking the beard a lot. It's very becoming.
On me?
Yeah, looking good, buddy.
Oh, thanks, pal. Oh.
Yeah, we talk to our guests usually on the show, not to, we try
to.
That.
Hey, man, guys, I don't get a lot of compliments, so thank you.
I'm glad to give you that compliment.
Well, it's funny because
Ben and I can talk anytime.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not gonna say, hey, Dave, that's a nice. Did you just paint your closet? That's very nice.
I don't know. I'll say that. I'll say that shit to Sal all the time. I'll be like, oh, you look really handsome today.
I love it, and I love that you got the Ghostbusters in the background, all sorts of movie stuff. I
have the Ecto one. I'll tell you, I got the Ecto one.
Show us around.
I got the sign. Then I have the Back to the Future DeLorean.
Oh, wow.
Up there.
Yes.
And then the Lego Batman 89 vehicle.
Oh, that's sweet.
Oh, man.
I built that myself. And I got a pretty sweet Millennium Falcon down here.
I was going to say Millennium Falcon. I wasn't sure. Oh.
Hold on. I'm dropping my mic.
That's okay. All right.
Did you build that one yourself? Or
no, I do have the Lego one, but it's half built because it's so many pieces.
Yeah.
This is just like a toy. It's crazy because it's just a piece of plastic. You could throw this on the floor and everything. So I was going to mount it to my ceiling. But remember what I said before about being lazy.
Yeah,
I haven't quite gotten to it yet.
You're in
the choir here.
Yeah, you're in good company.
Excellent.
Do not worry about that.
Excellent.
But no, it's great that you got movie stuff. I'm glad you're obviously a Star Wars guy too, which is fantastic. So yeah, we'll get into a little. We're obviously going to talk Superman, but obviously we want to talk. How you became you, how Q came up. I know you were a firefighter. Now I know you don't talk specifically about what happened during the firefighting days, but
I bore people with some stories sometimes, but I always feel like if I tell them on podcasts or stuff like that, I feel like I'm taking the credit for a team effort. But I got some crazy stories. I always feel like I'm a jerk for telling them without the guys.
Right. Well, what I'm curious about is Impractical Jokers. Like, did that? I mean, based on the internet, so you never know what you read on the internet. You were
basically,
still
how does a lazy guy from Staten Island get a TV show?
Well, that, but what?
Find 3 other guys to do most of the work.
Yeah, exactly. So were you doing Impractical Jokers and still an active firefighter?
Yeah, for the first entire first season, the first half of season 2.
Okay.
I was still working in the firehouse, and it was getting really hard because we were shooting more and more episodes. So I would be like, we would shoot, and then I would go to the firehouse, and I would work all night, and then we would come right back to set the next day, work at the set, and then go back to the firehouse and work it overnight. So it was like that was happening more and more. And then the city of New York used to not be a computerized system for when you wanted to, like, if you were working and I wanted to swap a tour with you, I could be like, hey man, could you work for me Saturday night and I'll owe you a tour? And that used to be the system. And I had a lot of that going on. And then the city of New York computerized their system where they tracked who owed what, and you were only allowed to owe no more than 2 tours.
Oh,
so
wow.
I was like, man, this fucks me. So I'm out of that. So that's when I took the leave of absence, when they computerized the city of New York's fire department.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't think I've ever told anybody that. So there you go.
Would you still be a fireman? You just keep giving shifts away, or
No, I'm too. I think about it now because I'd be approaching my 16th or 17th year, and my body just hurts all the time. So I'm like, man, if I had packed on another 10 years of abuse from that job, like, I wonder how much worse off I'd be right now. So
were you, were the guy? I mean, had the first season or 2 come out while you were still a firefighter?
Oh,
like,
yeah,
I know you were they busting your balls a little about being Hollywood, guy? Like,
oh, they called me Hollywood. That was a nickname for me for about a year and a half. John Gambino, guy in my firehouse, be like, Hollywood, what are you doing? Shit like that all the time. Yeah, but it was cool. They had to make fun of something.
Exactly.
I know you don't want to brag or anything or take credit for the team, but were you ever in a situation where you're like, oh man, this is kind of dicey. I don't know if I'm coming home tonight, kind of a thing?
Oh yeah, I could actually tell this story because it actually makes another guy look good. But we had a fire in a auto repair garage. And I had the roof position, and this guy whose name I don't even know because I wasn't working in my firehouse was in the OV position, the outside vent position. And we were up on the roof, and they're like, you got to cut the roof because the second you cut a roof and vent out all the gas and heat, it's like a dream. Like, you could stand up in a fire at that point. So it's an important job. So we were out there, but the roof, the tar was already bubbling. So you knew it was pretty hot under there. So we started cutting the roof, and I cut it, and then the roof just gave. Ooh. And I fell, and like it was like a hand, like a fire hand came out, and I rolled and I fell into the shop. But there was a Jeep Cherokee on a lift in the shop, and I fell on the roof of that.
Oh wow!
And the saw was going, and I was like, oh shit, man, this is scary. And the guy, he reached in and grabbed me, and with his help, I was able to like scuttle out with the saw and everything like that.
That's nuts.
Yeah, there's you can't be a fireman without 100 stories that sort of hit that kind of.
When level. Did your want to be a firefighter? I edit, don't worry. When did your want to be a fighter? Dave, help me out here. When did his want for a
firefighter?
Firefighter. There we go. That's how you say it. I kept saying fighter first. I don't know why. Firefighter.
You cut that shit out. You gotta look at that stuff.
Dave knows I don't edit. I say I edit to the guests just to make them feel better, but I don't edit. I gotta leave that in. Yeah. When did your want to be a hero start?
When I was a kid, I was always just kind of I had like a lot of cops in my family, some firemen, but more cops. And I kind of always wanted to do it. And then when I was such a Ghostbusters freak, Ghostbusters my favorite movie, the fact that they lived in a firehouse, I wanted to be, a Ghostbuster. And then 9/11 hit, and I was still young, like throughout my 20s. The problem is with the fire department, you take the test, and so many people want to be on the job that sometimes you wait 4 years, sometimes you wait so long that your test wipes out and you have to retest. That's what happened to me. So I took it and it wiped out. And I was on the fence about whether I was going to take it again this year. And then 9/11 happened. Then it was like, well,
yeah,
you gotta go to work.
Yeah, definitely. I was curious about when that fell in because 9/11, obviously you were close to that and everything. So yeah,
I got on 05. So I wasn't dealing with the immediate. I was part more of the healing than the tearing apart. But
Gotcha.
yeah, it was a rough time for the department.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, that's and you're right there in it. Now with Impractical Jokers, obviously you folks know you tuned in to talk Superman, but obviously to talk with Q from Impractical Jokers. One thing I do have to ask is, now that you guys are popular, how hard is it to do the skits you do? Like, not skits, but
Yeah, it's not that hard. It's still pretty easy. I mean, we obviously we got recognized and we got bits interrupted, but I can't tell you what they are. But we have several systems in place before a person even gets to us.
Okay.
We generally have a good idea if they know the show, and if they do, we just filter them out.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
And then the other thing too is just like it is it's a popular show and it's been on so long, but like there's 8 million people that live in on Manhattan alone. You know what I'm saying? Like, if 8 million people were watching Impractical Jokers every week,
right? Yeah.
I'd be heading the next Star Wars movie. It would be amazing. It just doesn't happen,
We pride ourselves on being a different interview show, and obviously you've had that question before, so I do apologize. Dave, go ahead, ask a question that he's never heard before.
Well, this probably won't be, but my favorite scenarios are the captive audience. Like the either the service worker, where you can have the opportunity to say, "Hey, mustache," or the sort of like a focus group thing. What's your favorite scenario where you can get someone?
Oh, that's easy. I like the presentation, the slideshows, because there's nothing like. I mean, a lot of the show is on its feet. You know what I mean? And you're in a situation and you're responding and stuff like that. Those slideshow presentations are really the ones that you get to craft jokes and really fuck with them like days in advance. And I love that. That's my favorite joke on the show was in a slideshow presentation. It was, I don't know how familiar you was, but I wrote a joke where it was they were doing timeshares, and then they say, "Hey, good luck." They were like, "We caught the alligator that ate the DeLuca boy," and then the next slide was going on and said, "We stuffed him." And then the next slide the alligator, not the DeLuca boy. And Sal just started fucking crying, man, and I was laughing. And I got that joke because I watched Jaws about 2 weeks before, where they cut open the Kittner boy, and I was so obsessed with Kittner boy that I had to figure out a way to get the word. I couldn't use the word Kittner, but I ended up on the DeLuca boy, and that's where that joke came from Jaws.
Oh my god, that's great. Well, and so you like actually performing the slides rather than writing them for the other guys?
I like writing way more than I like performing. Yeah, I do.
Now, are you interested in the acting game? Like, I know you have a few acting credits. Like, is that something you want to get more into? Like, where does that fall in your interest?
Yeah, I think so. Not in a serious way. Like, not in a like I'm going to be an actor kind of way. But I think that I would like to do fun, cool shit here and there. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just to be a part of it. You know what I mean? Like, I did the one of the Hatchet movies, Victor Crowley, and I was just so happy to be there. And it's just like, I don't consider myself an actor, but if you're telling me I get to hang out on the fucking set of Hatchet for a week and pal around with everybody, it's like, yeah. And if that means that I got to stand in front of camera and say some lines, I'm fine with it. Like, I'm cool. So I'd love to be part of stuff like that. Like Patty Jenkins is she's directing a Star Wars movie.
Yeah,
and we're buddies with her, so I'm just like, I keep telling her, I'm the new Wedge, man.
Yes,
I'll be Porkins.
Oh,
I'll be like, stay on target. You know what I mean?
Wouldn't you even take like a mask figure, like just a stormtrooper on set, like
literally anything? So it's like my interest in that stems from a desire to be part of shit that I love, not like that I know how to emote or anything like that.
Right. Yeah. But I was just, obviously curious about that, but appreciate you enlightening us on that.
Now, man, if somebody was like, "Hey man, we got a part for you in the movie," I'd be like, "Yeah, it sounds cool."
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. We were just talking to, comedian Mark Normand. I don't know if you're familiar with him. Yeah,
he was on our cruise, I think twice. He's a great guy.
Oh, nice.
Hilarious.
Yeah, we just talked to him, and we asked him, and he said, like, listen, if a Marvel movie comes to me and says, "Hey, you have this part, take it," he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna take it." But if I have to jump through all these hoops to get a part, like, no, I'm not gonna take. Like, it's it's like,
I know, and it's sad to say, but it's like that to me. That's a healthy attitude.
Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah, it's like, because you're not banking on like, oh, this is my dream. I got to do it. You're just banking on like, great. If I do it, great. If not, I still got this other gig over here.
Yeah, what am I going to
do? Yeah, exactly. But you had something, Dave?
Yeah, a family member of mine saw James Murray at an appearance, and what they didn't know was that he's quite the author. He's got like 5 or 6 novels, and one of the deals was they got I think to pay something. They got a copy of his latest novel. Have you read any of his novels? Are they any good? And
yeah, I read his first one, Awakened. And it was good. It was good. I liked it a lot. But I mean, when the guy comes out with like 5 books in 2 years, that's unreasonable to expect me to fucking keep up with every book you write. You know what I mean? It's like I read comics every week. Like, I'm a reader. I got a back pile. I can't be reading unless I'm going to just turn it to the James Murray book club.
That's what I was. Yeah, we got all your books displayed.
No, but it was good. I liked the book quite a bit.
I was curious if you had any, because that's sort of a side project for him. Do you have any maybe potential side projects that you would maybe want to explore beyond sort of the TV work or the movie work?
Yeah, I think so. I think anybody does, right? Like I wrote a comic with Cullen Bunn a few years back. Called Metro that I'd love to continue at some point. And then I don't know. I like writing. I'm just a writer more than a performer. I have been my entire life. So I'm love to like get some sort of comic book or some sort of animated thing off the ground where I could just sit back and write. But life's pretty good. I'm not too worried about it. You know what I mean? Like you said, like I'm not too worried about anything really. It's like just kind of chill out.
Yeah,
excellent,
definitely. Now, so we're a movie show. We like to have celebrities on to come in and break down a movie because our audience, fans like to see what celebrities think about a movie, even if it's not
because much of a celebrity.
No, you said it, not me. No, but even if it's just what they're just their thoughts, because they're in these movies, but like what do they think about certain movies?
Listen, hold on, listen.
All right,
Q.
Yeah,
your show. Here's the best thing I could say about your show.
Well, that's never a good.
No, here's the best
start to a sentence.
It's going to be good. But the moment I like the self-deprecation, but here's what I'll say about Impractical Jokers, and then I really do think it's the best thing I could say, is no matter what is going on in my life, and this has been put to the test, if I'm having the worst day and that there is, if I am just a grouchy son of a bitch, I can put on Impractical Jokers and you guys will make me laugh. And I think that is the highest compliment I can.
I agree 100%, man. That is my favorite thing to hear. The 3 things I like to hear are that, because I get it, because I have shows that do that for me. And the other thing is I watch it with my grandma. We hear that a lot. I fucking love that. Like the kids are watching it with their grandparents and stuff like that. And then the most distressing one, but I do like it, is because now the show's been on 10 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We've been on since 2011. These people who have graduated college come up to me and they're like, I have been watching you since I was a little kid. and that I'm just like, holy shit, man. Like, we've raised some of these poor motherfuckers.
Seriously.
like that's not good, man.
Yeah.
But thank you. No, that means a lot. It's actually like, it means a lot to me. So thank you.
Got it.
And I get it. I have shows that I feel the same way about. So it's cool.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's good stuff.
Don't ever think you're small, Q.
Yeah, don't ever.
Oh man, but the show's a separate thing for me. You know what I mean? It's its own thing.
Yeah, exactly. Now, let's talk Superman. What's your relationship with just the character overall of Superman? Like, where did that begin? Your love of Superman?
It started with this movie we're about to discuss.
Okay.
It was Superman was on. My mother, like any sane woman of her age, had an immense crush on Christopher Reeve, and that just kind of transferred to me because I have a huge crush on the guy. It was just like Superman, like it was just on all the time, and I just loved him, and started reading comics when I was like 9 years old, and it was just, a lifelong obsession with like how this character could be this good, to the point that like when Jerry Seinfeld started getting famous for being like the biggest Superman fan, I was like, fuck Jerry Seinfeld. No, he's not. Shit like that. Like I've just been like a comic book fan and a fan of that character for my entire life. It's been like just like a weird, you guys have it. Like you got weird obsessions about things. One of mine was always Superman. I just love the story. I love the character. I love everything about it. I love that there's ways to look at Superman that are creepy. You know what I mean? Where it's an alien that looks human, but it's now it's on Earth pretending to be one of us. And by the way, it has the power to kill all of us anytime it wants.
Right.
And the only thing that stops it from doing so is its mood. You know what I mean? There's different, and I love that character is that complex. I think it's amazing, actually.
I mean, that's right. I mean, technically, all the Superman movies are alien movies. You know, they're you know, invasion movies. And that's
it's an alien invasion gone the best way it can go.
Now this movie obviously starts off with on Krypton, which Man of Steel starts off with the 2013 film. They kind of copied off that. I'm going to get your thoughts on that a little later. Now, Marlon Brando as Jor-El. I'm sorry, Jor-El.
Fighter.
I've had a couple of these, Q.
I'm down with that.
Okay, cool. Don't you like own a beer or something?
Rubson and I have a beer label of my own, a little beer company.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
That's what I've been drinking today.
Nice. That's what I'm talking about. What are you? First of all, what are your thoughts on Marlon Brando? Like, are you a Marlon Brando guy? Are you like what?
Look, obviously he was Jor-El. I mean, Godfather alone puts him in the stratosphere. You know, you hear that he was a dickhead in real life a lot, and you know he was kind of really mean to Frank Oz, and I'm like, well, that's Yoda, man. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm one of those guys, and I know that not a lot of people could do it these days, but I'm really okay with being like, I guess he was a dickhead, but I don't know. He was Don Corleone.
Right.
You're watching him on the screen. You're not watching to see if he like recycles his plastic or whatever, right? I mean,
I don't have to deal with the guy. Like, you know what I mean? So I think he's great, but I've never been like the guy that's like Marlon Brando's the greatest actor of all time, and I've watched like movies of his that I've been like, this is boring, but
yeah,
great actor, I guess. What are you gonna do? He's dead now, right?
Yes, he is dead. Yep.
We can say what we want now.
2004. So yeah, we can say whatever. Yep.
Say whatever we want. All right.
What would you think?
There's that great photo of him with like a penis in his mouth. You guys ever see that?
I have not, but
I'm
gonna have to Google it now.
Google it right now. He did it as a prank. He was bisexual, so it wasn't like a big deal for him.
Prank.
He was at a party. I don't know, whatever the story is, but he took some dude's penis and put it in his mouth, and there's a picture on it. It's on the internet everywhere.
Oh, wow. I cannot believe I've never seen this picture. Okay.
It's an interesting Google experience.
That's, well, and it seems like he had to pose there. He had to pose there for a minute to be like, okay, is the camera? I've tried so many times on the show to do a Marlon Brando impression. I can never get it down. But wow, okay. Thank you for that, Q. Thank you.
Which is why, like, when people are like fucking like all up against like gays, I'm just like, you motherfuckers, I know you all love The Godfather. I'm like, there's Don Corleone with a penis in his mouth. Like, what are you guys so uptight about? Like, just relax.
All right, I'm relaxed. I just saw it.
Yeah, I'm totally relaxed. So him as Jor-El, though, I mean, for me, this totally works. Like, this is, I mean, it's 1978 Brando. It's a year before Apocalypse Now comes out. It's, about 6 years, I believe, after Godfather comes out, which Mario Puzo wrote. Who also wrote the
screenplay for this, right?
Yeah, wrote the screenplay for this, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah,
credited? He
is credited. I believe the story is by him or something.
That's so interesting. I forgot about that.
I know, yeah. But yeah, I mean, this whole sequence with them on Krypton is absolutely just for 1978. I have to say, like, the set design is just outstanding.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And it's like I think something that gets lost a little bit with today's comic book movies are the fact that like, yo, it's a comic book. Like it can look a little fucking silly. You know what I mean?
Right,
like when Krypton's exploding in those bodies, those superimposed bodies are just like twirling. It looks corny, but you're like, it looks like a comic book to me, you know?
Well, and that's the thing. Go ahead, Dave.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say like that's the thing too. Like, was this movie like they kind of thought they were gonna start like a cinematic universe? Like, I obviously know that General Zod comes back in the sequel, I believe it is.
I'd be curious to the extent they planned this, right? Because they just condemned them in the beginning and send them off, right? They must have known, right?
No, they wrote one and two at the same.
Oh, they did.
They shot 1 and 2 at the same time. And then he got fired. Richard Donner got fired halfway through shooting 2, I think is the story.
Yeah.
I think 2 is an underrated movie, just by the way. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then
do people underrated? I thought everybody loved 2.
I mean, maybe not as beloved as the first one, but
because I know the Donner cut came out like in 2006 or something. Like, so Donner actually had his cut come out. But yeah, I mean, the Zod one is always one that for some reason I remember. But yeah, it's just crazy that they had this idea obviously in place that they sent Zod off, this huge actor, and
Terrence Stamp.
Thank you. And he's in it for 2 seconds, but obviously he's going to be in it soon. But yeah, I just love that. And then it's just the special effects in this are great. And then when they send Superman off to Earth, it's totally I don't know if you're a Kubrick guy or not, Q, but how 2001: A Space Odyssey is this.
That's pretty trippy, man.
Yeah,
it's like
cool.
It's cool. That speech he gives while he's going, it's great.
How about those like fluorescent uniforms that they're all wearing? Those glowing. I had to look it up. I'm like, what did they do here? And I guess they used like cinema screens, which apparently some of them have glass in them for being reflective. So they basically made their suits out of screens. And then shot light using and then like 40-degree angle mirror, so it wouldn't shine into their faces, and that was just
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
Very cool.
Look at you with the facts, Dave.
You know what? That's what I'm here, man.
What the young Kal-El, who obviously is Jonathan, is it, and Martha, the parents of Clark Kent, they pick him up, but
then still a great interpretation of those characters.
Absolutely. I love them in this movie, but like I do feel that the actor for teenage Clark Kent, it's like what. Why? I looked it up, and the actors are like 5 years apart. So it's like it's like, is that necessary?
And then they dubbed his voice in anyway.
Oh,
it's Chris Reeve's voice. They dubbed the whole thing.
I did not know that.
That's
wow,
an odd choice.
It's really like weird. I always feel like, and I do love the movie. It's one of my favorites. I watch it all the time. But like, I do feel like myself, the older I get, being like, man, it really does take an hour for him to get into Superman. It's a fucking hour, and I'm like, oh man, like I'd kind of like to just get to it.
Because
all the farm stuff. Yeah,
I agree. I remember my memory of the movie is a lot of Gene Hackman, but he's not actually in it all that much. In the totality of the film.
Yeah,
as Lex Luthor.
Well over an hour before he even shows up.
One thing I did like, if I could just mention real quick, is
you're allowed to talk on this show, dude.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome.
One thing I did like, as someone who's my wife and I have been kind of struggling to have a kid over the number of years, I for the first time when I rewatched it a few days ago was John and Martha. I kind of related a lot more in a way that I didn't expect this time. Having this, like, I guess alien, but this child like sort of delivered to them as what you might think of it as like a miracle. You know what I mean? And they're a bit older than I guess in this movie. They look like they're in their 60s or something like that.
Yeah, I would say like late 50s, early 60s, right?
But that part kind of hit home for me a little bit, and that entire family dynamic of like cherishing this child and being able to raise them to the point where, as you were saying, Q, he could just go and kill anyone. You know, if the home was a little different, you'd get a very different outcome, right?
For sure. I mean, half the Elseworld stories in the comics are about what if Superman's rocket landed in Russia? What if Superman's rocket landed here or there? Anybody but the Kents. You know what I mean? Like, what if anybody with the Kents got their hand on that guy? We'd all be in trouble. But I think that's interesting what you said, because it's like it really speaks to how, like, the movie's not changing. The art's the same.
Right.
And you're responding to it in ways that you never even could imagine that you'd respond to it before in your life. Like that to me, more than anything, is like, that's fucking pretty great art, man.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, it's a great piece of work when it speaks to you at different points of your life and stuff like that. Not everything does that.
100%.
Definitely. Now, I mean, you mentioned Gene Hackman, but like, as little as he is in this movie, Gene Hackman, man, I always forget. Yeah, I always forget just how effortless everything he does is. I think the last movie I did on this show with him was Unforgiven, and
Little Bill.
What was that?
He was Little Bill. That was him.
Yeah, Little Bill. Exactly. Like, but everything he does, it's just like, it's so effortless. And I don't know why we don't put him in the conversation with the Brandos and the De Niros and you know, all that. Cause I mean, this movie, he plays Lex Luthor just amazingly. Like, Lex Luthor has always been this genius, you know, he's just so smart. And in this movie, obviously he says nincompoops, I believe, about 10 times. But
he adds like a condescension and like an obnoxiousness to the character, which kind of makes him in its own way endearing, which is, you know, kind of not you would expect from, you know, the main villain who's opposing Superman. I kind of like him in a little way, you know.
He's awesome in that movie, man. I mean, look at his life. He's living in, you know, a closed off section of Grand Central Station. He's got a pool. He's got a super hot blonde hanging around with him all day. He's got this idiotic minion. You're like, he's kind of great. Like, he is, but I don't know, man. He's great. It's a great character. But in terms of Lex Luthor, it's not a very impressive Lex Luthor. His performance is, but the character doesn't accomplish that much. And it's kind of like just a, you know, the Lex Luthor I like is businessman Lex Luthor, the one that like is the modern one where he's like, he's the president of the United States in some issues and stuff like that. So for me to love Hackman's Luthor as much as I do is like, to me, like another sign of like how great he is, because like, if anybody else played that version of Lex Luthor, I'd be like, this is fucking absurd.
So is there any on-screen Lex Luthors that you thought were par to the comics, or at least close to par?
Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't really, like, who was there been? I mean, Jesse Eisenberg didn't try and play it that way.
I mean, obviously there was
Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, Kevin Spacey.
But he was just doing a Gene Hackman impersonation.
Michael Rosenbaum in the Smallville series, I think that was. But yeah, you're right. I mean, there hasn't really been.
His father on that series was more like the Lex Luthor in the comics.
Yeah.
Lionel Luthor.
Are you a new comic day guy, and are you still in that world? Every week. Man, that's kudos to you. I wish I was every week.
Well, it's actually we're going through a weird period of comics where it's getting kind of a little bit like, I think I may be getting too old for the party at the moment, because it just seems that everybody who's writing was like writing about like superhero dates and shit like that. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about any of this. I'm like, can somebody punch somebody? Like, you know what I mean? I like, my era of comics is like the 90s, when there wasn't really a lot of introspection. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was more like, here's a crazy idea. It's batshit insane, and we're going to make it work because it's comic books. Whereas today, it's just like, it just seems like, it feels like I'm just watching the news sometimes.
I mean, does it mean that maybe that the industry is kind of going the wrong way? I mean, maybe it's not you, maybe it's them.
That's a conclusion everybody has to draw on their own, I guess. There is, by the way, still excellent. I mean, Garth Ennis is still making comics, but there's plenty of like comics that I read that I love. Like Tom Taylor's fucking, his Nightwing's amazing, but Donny Cates' Venom, like this. I still read a lot that I enjoy, but more and more, I'm finding it that maybe the party's leaving behind a little bit.
I would like to go back a sec to Lex Luthor, because it kind of makes me think of, because we mentioned Jesse Eisenberg. Maybe comparing this film to the Zack Snyder version, Zack Snyder film, which the tones are very different. That's essentially my put. Even though Gene Hackman gives a great performance, the entire movie is quite light in its tone. It's a little silly at times. Not I don't mean it in a bad way, because I think it's just
part 2 is even sillier at times.
But the Zack Snyder version is very serious and dour, I guess is maybe the word, or a much more heavier kind of tone. Could that be? What do you think of maybe comparing those two films in terms of tone? Which one what you like, what you didn't?
Well, I mean, I think anybody with a half a brain would say that obviously Donner's Superman is the Superman. But I didn't, Zack says, here's the thing, because I do read comics so much, I'm used to so many different interpretations of characters that, like, I didn't sit there being like, this is too dark for me, I can't take this. I was like, all right, I see what they're going for. And I didn't mind him as Superman. I know a lot of people did, but I didn't. But it just I just feel Superman should be a little bit more hopeful and a little bit more fun. I mean, I liked it. Like, I watched it. I enjoyed Man of Steel, but I certainly didn't have fun watching Man of Steel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right.
And my favorite version of the character is he's a little more inspirational, and he's a little more enjoying it a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because you have that, the obviously the moments with Clark Kent when we initially get to the Daily Planet and he's, stumbling around.
It's funny.
It's awesome, it's funny because that even goes back to what I said before, where it's just like, here's the creepy thing. That motherfucker is putting on an act to fool you. That's what he's doing. And then when you see him on the roof later, like, look at the scene where that's the famous scene where Superman catches Lois Lane and flies her up and puts her on the roof. Watch him looking at her. Like, that is a motherfucker who is having fun.
Right.
He knows the effect that he's having on her.
Yeah.
He loves it. You know what I mean? He's not abusing it, but, like, he's being polite to her, and he's making her heart race, and he knows it, and he's enjoying it. There is not an ounce of that in Zack Snyder.
So like the moments where he, like, lets her go, like, as they're flying. Like, obviously he did that on purpose just to see her reaction. Like, like,
even like the corny shit, like when the guy's climbing the ceiling and Superman's like, he makes a quip. And then the guy falls, and as he's falling, Superman goes to catch him, but he's like, "Oh shucks!" And then goes down. That shit's fun. Let's not forget, this guy is a hick. He's from Kansas.
Right.
He's a hick. Like, he would be doing shit like this. Like, you ever read? There's this comic called Superman for All Seasons, and it's this painted one. I think Tim Sale did the artwork, but he painted Superman. It's full comic as a giant corn-fed galoot. He looks like a dopey hick, and you're like, that's who he'd be. Yeah. It's kind of cool. Like, I kind of like that,
He's like deep in the method as Clark Kent, right? And he has to, like, catch him. You could tell he's like, I have to be this nerd. It's kind of funny too when it feels like he wants to tell Lois that he's Superman and has to catch himself, but then when he shows, I love the scene where he shows up as Clark Kent and she rejects him. And it reminds me of the meme where, like, there's, like, the version on one side and the Chad on the other, like the alpha man, but it's himself. So it's like, I don't know what to do here because I'm that guy, but I can't actually pretend or show that I'm that guy, and you're rejecting me, but you don't even realize that you actually do want me.
Yeah, but you see, what I take from it is that he loves that shit because he has that smirk on his face, like he knows what he's doing.
It's like, I just put on the cape, right? And then you'll want me again.
But this girl is like, fuck it. I know you want me whether I'm in this suit or in that cape. You don't know it yet. Which is kind of like, it's kind of a cool way to play it,
That's fantastic.
And I did like Cavill. I don't know if he's going to play it again. I did like him as Superman, but he seemed to me like an alternate reality Superman. It's just like, I mean, they're all alternate realities. What the hell every issue is, but like,
not to totally go off track, but what do you how do you like Ben Affleck as Batman?
Loved it.
Yes,
fucking loved it.
Yeah.
When he got cast as Batman, I was like, yes. I thought he was a great Batman. I love the outfit. I thought it was a home run, man. I'm glad he's coming back for the Flash movie.
He's my favorite Batman. Any thoughts on the Snyder cut? We're a couple months late here, but what do you think?
I mean, I have thoughts on Michael Keaton not being your favorite Bruce Wayne. That's the only thoughts
you want to do battle on that one? Tell me why Michael Keaton's better then.
I mean, just watch him.
Okay.
Well, I mean, Michael Keaton's a great actor, but we got to think as Bruce Wayne, is he the one?
I guess it's on your interpretation of Batman, because, like, I mean, it did seem like Michael Keaton's Batman just kind of didn't work out much and took it easy like a real billionaire, whereas Affleck's Batman didn't look like he was enjoying all that money. You know,
that was pretty miserable.
It's like, I don't know. It goes back to me liking the guys who are like a little bit more having fun with it.
I think that's a good point.
Because I love Affleck, but I just need them to have fun with it.
I like that, and I guess that kind of goes back to this movie a little bit. And we're thinking of the Snyder movies, because we meet Batman essentially in a world in crisis. At that point, we don't get to see him have fun because the world's ending, and we have to figure out the Superman problem, kind of a thing. Whereas in the other movies, they allowed the character to show a little bit more of the other side of them.
Keaton was hooking up with Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah,
that's in a leather catsuit.
Hey, I
see the better Bruce Wayne. What are we talking about here?
Hey, you should feel good. I talked to Michelle Pfeiffer's sister, Dee Pfeiffer, recently.
Dee Pfeiffer, okay.
So
just careful.
You're talking to royalty here. I love that they include. I don't know if this is where it came from, but like the classic like montage after we know that Superman's here. Like he's there saving the robberies and
that's great.
All the crime and saving the cat from the tree, and like I mean, obviously this has been part of comics and everything before this. This is 1978, but I feel like this is one of the first like montages we've seen on film of okay, our hero's here, let's see him do all these things,
and you never want to stop watching. And that's why I think the whole farm sequence is such a sin, because all I want to do is just get past it and get to all that and just watch that. That's all you want to watch.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You want to watch that and again the Gene Hackman scenes and everything like that. He's amazing. Gene Hackman's after these nuclear missiles or nuclear, I don't know, one of the two. He's after those missiles, and he wants to.
It's not one of the two.
No, he wants both of them, right? No. I'm saying, because I said I slurred it. First,
it is one. It is. That's right. It is one of the two.
Dave, shut up.
Just leave it go. Let it
go. So yeah, he's after these missiles. So he sends, Ned Beatty, which we haven't talked about yet. Mr. Luthor. He sends him to like adjust the codes in the one missile, and he somehow does it wrong, but then he sends the lady out and she does it right.
Pretty amazing for three people to do all this.
Yes.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
Even him getting to the point where he messed up was so impressive. I couldn't do that.
Right. Yes.
Q, what do you think of this real estate plan? Do you think this is a viable idea?
I mean, it's sound. I mean, if you did own property in that area, it would suddenly be very valuable.
Yeah.
I don't know if, it sounds like you have to kill a lot of people to make a buck there. It's not really my thing,
I'd at least give Ned Beatty Otisville. I think that's the least you can do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of selfish for Luthor.
Yeah, come on. Have any of the four of you Impractical Jokers, do you all live on the East Coast still?
We all live on the East Coast, yeah.
Have any of you thought of going to the West Coast permanently?
No, I don't think so. We're not. We all got family here, and which is I still live on Staten Island. Like I don't want to go anywhere.
You don't want to sell your soul yet?
Oh God, dude! I I could point to a number of fucking commercials where you could see the soul leave my eyes as like Hawk Subway, whatever bullshit they asked me to do. It's not a matter of soul. It's more a matter of just having my friends around.
It's like it's been sucked.
There's no people. It's so funny. Like if we get called sellouts, I'm like, you don't understand. The second you step on TV, you sold out. You've already sold out. So it's
man. So wow. So people actually call you sellouts. That's
we've got called everything.
Tale as old as time. Tale as old as time.
But I'm just like, but these are fucking Impractical Jokers. Like, who expects this much out of these guys? Like,
right.
If there's anybody that you think would sell out in a second, it would be those guys. You know?
Right. It's like, what do you want us to do?
What the fuck do you want me to do?
Like these guys are, giving me this much money, like to tell jokes on TV. Like, oh no, I don't want to sell out and offend people.
Give it to me. Sell out. That's my advice to everybody. Sell out as fast as you can.
Does Superman? I reminded of the Seinfeld comment earlier. Does Superman have super humor, or what? Because as George Costanza says, I've never really heard him say anything funny.
He's not really that funny of a guy. He's more of an earnest. He's more an earnest guy. He makes Lois Lane laugh, So I guess that's what's important. They're married.
Was that a yes or?
I'm not Lois Lane. I don't know. I don't think that I wouldn't say he's a funny guy. I think he's nice and pleasant to be around. And I think he's got a good sense of humor, but I don't think anybody's looking to Superman for yuck and laughs. Yeah.
Good to have that settled.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, obviously we get to, Lex Luthor tells his plan, as Dave said, about doing the to make San Francisco and Los Angeles disappear.
Because he blow up California essentially, and then once the rubble clears, I will be able to pocket lots of money because this will now be prime coastline. I mean,
property.
Yeah, like
I bought all this land. That was cheap.
I don't know if it's going to work out that way.
Right, but it's a comic book, which is why you sit there and you're like, yeah, of course that's the plan, man. Let's do it. I'm down with it.
I like
that. I mean,
why. All right, if they did that shit in Man of Steel, you'd be like, this is so dumb. You would be angry. You would literally be like, they're. But for some reason, when you place it in that world that's just a little bit more fun and a little bit more comic book, suddenly that's something you got to worry about. Some jerk blowing up in California so we get a beachfront property, man. That's the world I want to live in. Like, that's the one.
I get it.
The crazy one.
How gruesome was Lois's potential death? Like, this is just hard to watch. Like, we're seeing her drown in dirt for so long, and it's just like
scared me as a kid. I remember being scared by it.
Yeah, it's just like, wow, if this doesn't instill fear in somebody, I don't know what will, because this is just
it's brutal. It's pretty brutal.
Yeah. Especially for a PG, 1978 film. Like it's just like, man, because
he just pours in her throat. This is crazy.
Yeah, because you got the Hoover Dam, like totally went out, and he's saving that with rocks that you can totally tell are, small models, but I gotta say, for 1978, this is awesome effects.
That was great. It goes back to my point. If you saw that shit in Man of Steel, you'd be like, the effects suck. Fuck this movie.
Right.
But back then, it's charming. You're like, oh, it's so cool. They made a little model of a dam and blew it up. It's the best.
Right.
Well, I mean, this is something we come across a lot, Q, when we review movies, particularly older ones. Anything made with practical effects almost always holds up, right, Ben? I mean, versus
definitely.
Made like CGI, maybe only just 10 years ago, looks like garbage. But those those directors who decided to use practical effects back then, of course, there was limitations anyway, but they all hold up. And so like a movie from 78 will hold up better than a movie from like 2003 or something.
Yeah, I watched The Mummy, the Brendan Fraser one recently. And I do love that movie.
I love that movie.
The movie holds up.
Yeah.
Right? The movie holds up. It's so much fun, but the effects are rough.
Yeah, I haven't watched it in a few years. I want to check it out because I loved that movie. Like it was great. Dope. Yeah,
the first two were really good. The third one I thought was kind of dog shit, but the first two were awesome, man.
I think we've been spoiled with good technology. That's for sure.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on reversing time via reversing the Earth?
Father, I think you know what boat I'm in by now, man. Like that's what I want. That is exactly what I fucking want. I want Superman flying back so fast that the Earth spins back and he goes back in time. That's the movie I want to watch.
I agree. I think, and the movie actually does a lot of this. In terms of like logistics of how he got the missile. Like when he turned time back, how did he actually solve the problem? We don't know, but we don't need to know all the details, right? Like we're just in this kind of alternate world and we're gonna accept
he's fucking Superman. He just went back in time. How much more do you guys need?
Right, he did it.
Right, him disarming a bomb. He's Superman. He
figured it out. Right, yeah, and I'm okay with it. Right, yeah. You spin the world back and somehow that reverses time. We spin it forward and we solved it. Okay, good. I'm okay because I've been having I accept the world I'm living in and I've been having a great time and
having a blast.
Again, that's what movies are all about. It's just suspending your disbelief. As much as I think that phrase is oversaid in movie critique, but suspending your disbelief and just going along for the ride. Yeah, exactly. Like it's Superman. You know,
it's fucking Superman. It's like, it's great. It's like seeing the model and that model of Damn you guys spoke about and knowing it's a model and loving it more because of it's a model. Like there's no need to I don't know, man. I love it. I do.
Yeah. I love it too. And it's just so weird though, because some movies just completely fail at it and you can't suspend your disbelief. So it has to be done, in a very, it's not an easy task to pull something like this off with what Donner did in this film with his cast, the story, keeping it light, a little bit silly, a little bit unbelievable, but not going too far ever. It sort of, it's coherent within its own universe kind of a thing. Everything that happens within the film makes sense. There's no time you're like, this is dumb, because somehow it, kind of writes its own rules for the film and you just accept it. It's brilliant to be able to do that.
Brilliant to be able to do that. Absolutely.
Yeah. No, definitely. But I mean, it's just, it ends in hurrah, it's he has to go and, it's a great movie to watch. Like you said, Christopher Reeve is having fun in this movie. Harry Cavill is not, Harry Cavill. I don't know. My words.
Even Brandon Routh, and I thought Brandon Routh was a good Superman. He didn't look like he was having much fun.
Right. Yeah. Whereas this, it's Superman having fun. Yes, there's a dire moment. Even emotion.
You guys watch. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. You're the guest. Cut off away.
That new Superman show, Superman and Lois on the CW, is the only CW show I've ever watched.
Same.
It is fucking awesome.
I love it.
He's having a blast. He's such a good Superman because, at his essence, he's a nerd who's having a good time, and I'm like, that's what my version of Superman is.
Yep. I wanted to ask you about that show if you've been watching it. Well, obviously you are, because you consume every piece of Superman product that comes out.
Yeah, I do. I do. I'm a big Superman fan.
Great show. Yeah, highly recommended everybody.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
I have one other question. I read in an interview, it was a little while back, that you declined an invitation to the Playboy Mansion to instead attend some sort of a Superman function. Do you still think that was the right decision?
There are two big mistakes I've made in my life. One of them, I'll tell you, the other one's even worse because Tom Petty's last concert before he died. Tom Petty's my all-time favorite, right? And he played the Hollywood Bowl, and somebody said to me that there was no way to know it was his last show.
Yeah.
And he was like, they was like, hey man, do you want to go see Tom Petty tonight? And I had just seen him in New Jersey 2 months earlier, so I was like, but I'm only in LA for a few days, and there's friends I want to see. So I was like, you know what? Look, I got to go see my buddy. We had these plans all set up already for 2 weeks. I got to go. And all I did was go to my friend's house, and we smoked weed. We watched the movie. It was like the stupidest shit in the world. Meanwhile, it is the last performance Tom Petty will ever give.
Oh man,
and that eats me away. And the other one is I had a chance in my life to go to the Playboy Mansion, and I blew it. Blew it. And back when the Playboy Mansion was fun too, you know what I mean? Now I think they do like corporate dinners, you know. I think it was back in like the orgy and STD days of it all. And I just
did I came away with some herpes or something, Q.
Have you brought herpes to the party? You know, you don't know which.
Have you seen any of the Friends since the Tom Petty party?
It's fucking, I'm going to tell you something right now. It's Justin Roiland, that motherfucker who made Rick and Morty. I spent the night at his house hanging out with him when I could have been at Tom Petty's last concert.
Have you seen him since?
I've seen him since, yeah.
Oh, okay, never mind then. I was gonna,
I love the guy.
I was gonna say maybe that was the last time you could have saw your friends, you know.
He's another genius.
It's
just
all right.
A pleasure to know him.
So for the next hour, we're gonna talk about Rick and Morty. So, but yeah, Superman. I mean, I'm so glad you picked this film. I gave you a list. I know you're a horror guy, you know.
Yeah.
So I gave you.
The second I saw Superman, I was like, it's gonna be Superman.
I figured
because we're now horror guys and we're a little apprehensive. Oh Christ, if he's gonna pick some slasher movie that we don't want to watch.
Oh man, if I had my way, I would have said Ghostbusters. But when I saw Superman on the list, I was like, that's good. That's perfect.
Yeah. Excellent. We did research when we sent the list, so
yeah, we had you scoped up.
Appreciate that. Thank you, gentlemen.
No problem. But yeah, Superman 1978. I mean, that's like it's the go-to Superman movie. It's essentially like the first great comic book movie. I mean, we're in a phase now where it's just comic book movies shoved down your throat. And
I would take this one over pretty much all of them, to be honest with you.
Oh my God, it wouldn't even be close. I mean, look, Endgame was amazing. I get it, but if you're telling me that there's a burning building and there's the last copies of Endgame or Superman, it's not even a fucking. It's not even. So that means I gotta take my cholesterol medication. It's not even like a choice. Like Endgame's gonna burn. It's gonna burn. And I love Endgame.
It's gonna burn.
It's gonna burn, boys. I'm saving Superman. I had a lot of fun. You guys are easy to talk to.
Thanks, Q.
All right, boys. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, there you have it, folks. Hope you enjoyed that conversation with Q. He was a lot of fun. Had a blast with him. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at BlockbusterCast, Instagram at BlockbusterMentality. That's where you'll get all the updates on the show. And yeah, that's it. I'm done talking. If you stayed this long, hey, I appreciate it. You're one of the good ones. All three of you. We really appreciate it. All right. I'm done. I'm done talking. No, seriously, I'm done talking now. I'm done. No, now I'm done. All right. Anyways, all right, folks. Well, that is it for me, for Dave and Q. I'm Ben, and as always, grab some popcorn, grab some snacks. We'll catch you guys at the movies.